Animation, the CSDB celebrating 150 years logo. Text, 1921 to 1940. An interpreter in the corner of the screen throughout the video. From above, a camera moves toward a balcony to reveal a gymnasium.
Today, we know it as the old gym. Everything about it fills you with nostalgia.
Colorado Index article.
It was dedicated on November 3rd, 1922, with a presentation by the governor.
Photo of the gym and news clippings.
Students were excited to play basketball in the new court, run on the indoor track, climb ropes, and practice gymnastics.
Colorado Index article with photo of Superintendent Argo.
Sadly, before it was completed, Dr. Argo passed away.
Photo, Isabella Argo.
His wife, Isabella, had been a teacher, matron, and assistant superintendent at the school, and was a natural choice for superintendent. Unfortunately, less than a year later, she passed away too.
Colorado Index article with the photo of Superintendent McAloney.
That fall, Thomas S. McAloney was hired.
2 photos of Superintendent McAloney, one with students.
He was a longtime superintendent at the Western Pennsylvania Institution for the Blind, and had worked at several other schools for the deaf and the blind.
Exterior photo of the gym, Colorado Index articles.
When he arrived, he started a track and field program for students who were blind. A jumping pit and running track were created.
2 photos of the running track.
The 90-yard track had long wires with rings that students held to guide them.
Photos, football and basketball.
For students who were deaf, boys' football and basketball remained popular, and a girls' team competed in basketball.
Photo, campus buildings.
By this time, the old main building was deemed unsafe and was torn down to make way for a new cafeteria.
Photo of Argo Hall and Colorado Index article.
The new dining hall was dedicated in May 1924 at the school's 50th anniversary celebration. It was named Argo Hall to honor the Argo family.
Photos, Argo Hall dining room and model cottage.
So, what was on the menu back then?
Colorado Index article.
Cooking students in the model cottage often learned to make entire meals. On April 8, 1930, they served veal loaf, creamed peas, mashed potatoes, watermelon pickle, jelly, rolls, fruit salad, white cake, orange ice, and coffee to guests.
Archival film, people in a long line.
In October 1929, the Great Depression began. People were out of work,
A cloud of dust behind a house.
and severe drought caused dust storms across the plains.
A woman lifts a child and runs. Document with the school motto.
The CSDB motto was, "Learn to do by doing,"
Photo, the print shop.
and students learned through their trades.
Photos of each trade.
Young sewing students darned socks, while older students made aprons and gym clothes. Carpentry and painting students worked on the interiors of buildings, and girls did the laundry. Boys who made brushes and brooms sold their products in town. Dressmaking and hat making were offered for girls, and art became a trade for boys who were deaf.
Photo, in the bakery, a group of boys in uniform stand by a table full of bread.
Baking, taught by the staff baker, became a trade for boys in 1933.
A board report clipping.
In 1939, they made about 100 loaves of bread each day.
Colorado Index article.
They baked cookies on Tuesdays, hot rolls on Thursdays, and gingerbread and pies on Fridays. On Saturdays, they'd bake rolls and coffee cakes, and make ice cream for Sunday dinner.
Photo, 2 students receiving haircuts from student barbers.
By this time, there was also a barber shop in the basement of the admin building. As early as 1916, a local barber trained students to shampoo and cut hair and provide shaves.
Photo, local barber J.S. Hudson. Colorado Index article.
In 1918, student barbers were paid 2 cents a haircut during school hours and 10 cents on Saturdays.
Photo, a group of older girls with short hair.
By 1926, even girls were visiting to get the popular bob cut.
Animation, 2 girls receive bob haircuts.
They were as particular as a movie actress, students reported. They wanted their haircut right, and due to the efficient efforts of the barbers, who really were bobbers, it was cut right.
Photo, a large group of younger students.
Students were scheduled for a haircut every 4 weeks.
A Colorado Springs city directory page, 2 photos of Frank Cheney.
Many students likely knew of a local barber who was deaf, named Frank Cheney.
A marriage record and photo of Emma Cheney slide in.
He married Emma Kennedy, daughter of the school's founders, and worked downtown for many years.
Lon Chaney magazine article.
His son, Lon Chaney, who was hearing, communicated with his parents in sign language.
Photos of Lon Chaney's elementary school and Emma Cheney.
When he was 10, he left school to take care of his mother.
Film clips, Lon Chaney is a mad scientist and the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Chaney became a stage performer. then a famous silent film actor.
Photo, Lon Chaney promo card.
In 1922, when he visited his uncle and cousin on campus, he was a household name.
Colorado Index article.
Students were excited to shake his hand and noted his mastery of sign. The Colorado Index reports, "He gave the boys a nice, inspiring talk using the sign language as his means of communication. We found the great film star a charming gentleman."
Colorado Index article. Film clip, Lon Chaney in The Phantom of the Opera.
Never forgetting his roots, in 1925, he arranged a special screening of his film Phantom of the Opera for students at a nearby theater.
Photos, the steam plant and Ritter Hall.
In 1926, the school built a new steam plant. 2 years later, Ritter Hall, a dorm and classroom building for elementary students, was added.
Photos, students in class.
At the time, they were separated from older students to promote learning speech. Classrooms in the lower level included a rhythm room and a radio ear room.
Photos, Loretta during an interview and as a child with the group of students.
Alumna Loretta Greenwood Cacciatore enrolled in 1930 and recalls having classes there.
Photo, Loretta on a wooden swing.
She remembers how most students weren't allowed to use sign language, but a handful were taught to sign by Mrs. Bessie Veditz.
Portrait, Bessie Veditz.
Loretta's future husband, Joe Cacciatore, was a student at the school too. Here he is in his bakery uniform.
Photos, students who are blind in a classroom, one reading Braille.
For students who were blind, Braille was now the main form of reading and writing. They also learned to write script and type on a typewriter.
Colorado Index article and book covers.
In 1924, student William Wood notes the Braille books he's read, which include The Lance of Kanana and poems every child should know.
Colorado Index article with the photo of Superintendent McAloney.
Quite suddenly, in August 1932, Superintendent McAloney passed away.
Colorado Index article and photos of Alfred Brown.
Alfred Brown, who taught at the school between 1912 and 1928, returned. He would remain superintendent for the next 20 years.
Photo, West Hall.
That year, West Hall, a dorm and classroom building for students ages 10 to 13, opened, and the school had 270 students, the largest number in its history up to that point.
Document, clipping from 1934 board report.
Billy Monk, who is blind, enrolled in 1926.
Photo, young Billy Monk.
When he was in 5th grade, he wrote about making a kite.
Colorado Index article.
Miss Turner covered it with tissue paper, but it didn't work. I covered it with wrapping paper. Another boy and I tried to fly it, but it came down and broke a stick. A deaf boy came out and helped me fly it. It went out to the end of my string. Then it came down again and broke all to pieces. What a wonderful example of students working together.
A graduation article and photo of Billy Monk.
He graduated in 1939 and studied music at the University of Northern Colorado.
UNC yearbook page with a photo of Billy.
Then worked at the School for the Deaf and the Blind in Virginia as a music teacher. Later, he became a piano technician in Colorado.
News articles about Leland Logan and Ruth Montgomery.
Several graduates from this time period who were blind had notable careers in music.
Colorado Index article about new pupils.
In 1928, 11-year-old Herman Butler, who was deaf, enrolled.
1936 class photo featuring Herman Butler.
He graduated in 1936 and excelled in academics, art, and football.
Herman Butler in the 1935 football team.
According to Herman, as a student who was black, he was treated as an equal at CSDB.
A letter written by Herman.
But was excluded from Gallaudet University, which did not accept students who were black until the 1950s.
Color photo of Herman as an older man. Gazette news article.
In a 1987 news article, he notes, "A long time ago, it was hard to get jobs. People didn't understand about deaf people, and there was a lot of discrimination. I had 2 strikes against me. I was deaf and black."
Herman's letter.
Herman worked at Memorial Hospital and as the head vegetable cook at the Broadmoor before returning to CSDB in 1955.
Photo of Herman and other CSDB kitchen staff.
He was a school cook for 30 years.
Photo, Herman smiling and wearing his chef hat.
Throughout his life, he remained positive and encouraged students to learn as much as possible.
Archival film, World War II tanks, planes, and troops.
In 1939, after 20 years of relative peace, World War II began in Europe.
Aerial photograph of CSDB.
While the next decade would bring new challenges to the school and the nation, with these would also come opportunity.
Students pose for a photo in the arches of Ritter Hall.